Well, Doctor, let's talk about International Charity Day. Somebody says today he's bearing the name charity because he's expected to give and also maybe receive in the other hand. But then let's really define what the word charity really means. Who is to receive and who is to be given?
That's right. Charity is basically stepping out of your comfort zone and helping someone in need. And that need could be it could be in cash, it could be in kind, it could be in a word of advice, it could be protecting somebody, you know, vulnerable people, making sure they are not taken advantage of. So it's any good work that you do on behalf of people who are in need of it is charity. Mainly, services rendered to the poor. That's the general understanding we have. Services rendered by people who have it. Notice I use the phrase people who have it, not people who are rich.
Okay.
Not just people who are rich. You don't have to be rich, but you have something that someone else doesn't have, and which you might not need. If you give it to that person, it will mean a lot to him. And so basically the United Nations is looking at a situation where by 2030, under the Sustainable Development Goals, poverty would have been eradicated. And poverty in its extreme form would have been reduced to the barest minimum. Poverty in its extreme form is defined as people who live on less than $1 a day.
A day, exactly.
You know, so all the 17 goals of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals are geared towards basically reducing poverty. You know.
Yes, we're going to get into the aspect of trying to talk about reducing poverty, but I need you to react to this. Why do you think the world needs an international day of this nature, say an International Day of Charity? Why do you think the world needs it?
Well, the world needs to be reminded about its humanity. When something is good, you don't take it for granted that consistently people are going to be doing it. You need to talk to people about it, remind them about it. So it's important to set aside a day during which everything concerning charity will be harped upon, so that people are reminded of their humanity, reminded of the fact that there are people who are suffering, reminded of the fact that the little you have can make a difference for somebody, reminded of the fact that you need to reach out to help others. That's why the day is set aside. And the United Nations does this. It sets aside days to remind people of specific important issues.
Now let's look at it.
Also a day to remind us of Mother Teresa.
Exactly.
That's right.
Which is the classical example now of charity. Because
that's right.
That day, which is the 5th of September, marks the anniversary of her death. Now, what is it that the world has not come to understand about Mother Teresa and her open natural heart of giving? What is it that we've not come to understand with that so far?
Well, I think the world understands Mother Teresa as, we all consider her as a saint. I mean, she hasn't been officially canonized, but I think it's a matter of time. She will be canonized, and we will give her an official tag of a saint, and probably some church or some organization somewhere will have her as their guardian saint. We know about Mother Teresa, we know what she stands for, but the practice of what she stands for is lacking. That's why this day is set aside to remind humanity. Let's not just talk about her goodness and her kind-heartedness, how she gave up a good life in Europe, moved over to India, and lived a sacrificial life with the poorest of the poor, provided comfort for them, and reached out to the world to supply resources with which these people can be taken care of. And so she gave hope and life to many people who otherwise wouldn't have had a chance for a good life. And so let's not just talk about that, but let's actually do what she did. Let's reach out as individuals. I was talking about the 17 Sustainable Goals aiming at reducing poverty. And basically, there are 5 things here. It talks about people, it talks about our planet, it talks about prosperity, it talks about peace, and then it talks about partnership. Now, I like the last part, which is partnership.
Okay.